It is Independence Day week, July the 4th on Wednesday, and happy birthday to America. Sylacauga Mayor Sam Wright, our guest this morning. And Mayor, happy Independence Day to you, sir.
Yeah, happy birthday to us.
That's right.
That's right.
Good to have you with us this morning. And we have not sat and talked on this show since you announced that you would not seek re-election, and that was some month and a half ago. What goes into you making that decision not to seek re-election?
Well, you know, Jimmy Dale, there's a lot of things that go into it. My family was never 100%. I didn't have 100% of the family vote to begin with. And
well, you're in trouble right there.
I was in trouble from the start, and I don't know. It's just a lot of things. I guess I've had more things that have been upsetting, and I hold things in. I'm not a person that it rolls off of real easy, so consequently it eats at me all the time. I never hardly get rid of it. It's something that's continually there. And you know, it's kind of like when you wake up in the morning and you're not 110% for doing it. Mm-hmm. You kind of feel like that's it. And you know, Connie and I pray, and we like a lot of folks pray. We believe in God and trust God. I think God's got something out there for me to do, Jimmy Dale. What it is, I don't know. How it's going to be, people have been nice to me. I have an opportunity to do some things that I appreciate people coming, this particular person coming forward and saying something that, hey, we'd like for you to be right back here, this kind of thing. So, you know, I've you know, it's not that you weigh out your options or anything like this, but I think something will come along in the next 2 or 3 months.
Had you been thinking about this for a while, or is it?
Yeah, I had been thinking about it off and on about it. I really had. You know, I've enjoyed it. I poured 8 hard years into what I did. You know, as I've told somebody a lot of times, I just believe in giving it 150%, and that's the way I tried to go at it. Sure, we had some things that maybe were not as pleasant as other things, but for the most part, I think the integrity of City Hall has always been there. People have felt good about the fact that Sam Wright was the mayor of Sylacauga. They felt comfortable with things that I did and places that I went and representing the city of Sylacauga. And I think I represented Sylacauga with honor and with clarity and straightforwardness, and you know, try to be honest with people and this kind of thing. You know, it doesn't take you a long time. Whoever sits in the mayor's seat will realize at the very beginning there's a lot of folks that come wanting things and call you up about various and sundry things. I mean,
don't look at me when you say that.
Not you, but. Because I think you have to be responsive to the press, and I think you have to always be responsive to the press. There are times when you just got to talk about things that don't need to be aired, and because that's not the right way to do it. Not that you're holding things back or anything like that. You're just trying to get some clarity where when you do present it, you've got a clear path that you're going to present. I guess just a lot of things gnawing at me and this kind of thing. I thought, well, you know, time for me to head out.
What are some things you're most proud of in your 8 years as mayor?
Well,
accomplishments.
Accomplishments. I think getting the nice lighting on 280 and 231. I think that was a big.
That now seems like forever ago.
Oh,
but
it does seem like forever ago. And I think being able to wrap up the downtown and make downtown attractive. You know, Jimmy Dale, not too many years ago, and you can remember when you could shoot a shotgun downtown on Broadway on Friday, 8 o'clock, and you wouldn't hit a car. Now it's packed, and people have done good downtown. They've all been receptive. And I tell you what, you got to be proud of the way people have started to dress up their fronts and do some
looks
things.
Good.
It looks real good. Sylacauga is still a nice place to come and be. You know, Friday at the farmers market, met a couple named Nichols, live in Birmingham, but bought a place here. Wanted to come to Sylacauga. Sylacauga was kind of the place. They found a place out several miles out of town and come into Sylacauga, And I think they're beginning to say, hey, we're going to get rid of the Birmingham place and move to this location altogether. Very complimentary of Sylacauga, just very complimentary of Sylacauga. And so you still run into people that choose to come here to live. A lot of people say, oh, why would they come to Sylacauga, this, that, and the other? You know, I don't know what motivates people to have such a negative attitude a lot of times about that. But
there's a group from Marshall County just came just a couple of days ago to visit Sylacauga.
And I think if you talk about accomplishment, I think what we've begun to do with Marble, I mean, realizing that, hey, it's time to wake up. Marble's been here. Make it part of our focal point. We are called the Marble City. Let's show people why we're called that. Let's be positive about that. So we've done some things in Sylacauga, Alabama, regarding marble that is not done anywhere in the state of Alabama. Number one, because we don't place got marble. But how many people get an Italian sculptor to come and visit with them for 2 weeks and do a masterpiece that they leave here? I mean, what we have at our library, and now what we're beginning to have in front of City Hall, they are things to behold. I mean, they are absolutely beautiful items that would be proudly displayed in Montgomery and Atlanta, Birmingham, New York City, for heaven's sakes, right here in Sylacauga. So the group from Marshall County came down. Hey, Bluebell helps that situation. But you know, when they came into Sylacauga. I forget where the first trip was. It might have been Bluebell. They did Bluebell. They did the museum. They came by the library, and then they ate at Marble City Grill. So everything that they did had a positive impact on Sylacauga. They went to the observation deck out on Fayetteville Road. That's gotten to be big, and that'll continue to be big. We are asking the state to allow us to put a couple of signs on 280, which will be one more sign on 280, but to direct people how to get to the observation point. Tourism is, you know, it's the thing. Well, why would tourism in Sylacauga, Alabama? Tourism, that's the Gulf Coast or the Smoky Mountains. But, you know, it's tourism because there's a lot of groups that are looking for destinations, and this group out of Marshall County was 45, 50 people, and they ran, I think, Albertville, Boaz, Arab, that kind of thing is where they came from. But they were very interested. As a matter of fact, there was a gentleman on there named Arnold that's from Sylacauga originally.
Wow.
Yeah.
Small world.
Herman Arnold was his daddy, and they had a feed store there on 1st Street. And Clyde Arnold, I think, somewhat kin to them, Arnold Supply. So, small world indeed. I remarked the other day, Ruth Farr told me that she was on a tour, and the tour guide stepped on the bus from Winnipeg, Canada, said, I don't know how to pronounce your town, but I know where it is. And they said, well, how do you know where it is? And they said, well, my son came to the Marble Festival last year and carved.
Goodness.
Winnipeg, Canada. And it says he's coming back next year, going to bring his whole family with him. So the Marble Festival just continues to be something. So I know under the leadership of Ted Spears and the Arts Council, I don't think they're going to drop that ball. So they're going to have it out there for the next mayor to continue to work on, and hopefully it'll continue to gain momentum. Downtown, I think it, you know, it's still a nice spot. And of course, here again, you know, and this is why the 280 property is so important, and some other things are so important.
Has that been a disappointment?
That's just been a debacle. I mean, it's one of them kind of things. If you could make a mistake, we made 10 of them. And, you know, it was kind of like, I don't know, it was a lot of reasons, all boiled down to everybody wanting us to assume most of the risk. City of Sylacauga. I thought what we had this last go around was an attractive proposition for somebody, but then it turned south on us, and we bailed out on it, which we should have. Whether that gains any more momentum or not, I don't know. The economy will only tell. But you know, your Walmart area, your Hibbett Sporting Goods area, that side of the street, Popeyes and Captain D's over there, Home Depot, continue to do well. I think the groups that come in that stay at the the motel and situation out on 280. That continues to be bad. But what you've got to do is you've got to give people a reason when they move here or look at Sylacauga and they bring a plant here. When they bring this plant here, encourage more people to live in Sylacauga. You know, it's just a point now that companies don't do that, and so people don't do that, and unless you get some changes around here, they won't do that.
It's been 8 years of accomplishments and yet some challenges under Mayor Wright's leadership and tenure. We've seen a lot of highs, and we've seen some challenges with job loss. We've gained some jobs, and the economy has not been its best in the last, especially 4 years.
Oh, absolutely. You can be a good mayor when you got money. You know, and now you talk about the downsides to things. I think the reef thing has been probably the thing that's probably eat at me more than anything. People don't realize it. Probably it's ugly. Got probably some of the ugliest phone calls. But you know, here again, I never mind that. People are upset, and they've got a right to be upset. And they want to lash out, and that's fine. They got to direct it somewhere. We had no control over reef. We had nothing to do with it. We had absolutely no input. We were just a victim like everybody else, but we felt like our hands were tied. We did do a little something. It didn't turn out much, but you know, people have asked what's going on with reef, and you know, quite honestly, there's groups that are trying to see if they can get that place cleaned up, and that's all we want. You know, everybody, you know, I see stuff written about it and things said about it, and they got about half of them right. Concerning what's going on, but nevertheless, you know, I just hope and pray that it's something that will work out, because there's a lot of different possibilities, a lot of different angles. There's a lot of different things that gonna go into this.
Sylacauga Mayor Sam Wright, our guest this morning, who announced a month or so ago that he'll not be seeking re-election to that office. A week or so ago, we had the big event down at Sylacauga High School with the 167th Division, I think it was, leaving Sylacauga, going for more training and on to Afghanistan. When you spoke, it was a heartfelt moment for you, wasn't it?
Really was sad. I could tear up now about it. But you know, it's a tough thing these young guys are doing in, you know, the military and our Delta company here. They're in Camp Shelby, Mississippi now, and we'll be there probably for another couple of 2 or 3 weeks. And I suppose that there's still a chance that they won't go. But I think in listening to them talk now, that chance is very small. So the whole company is about 600 and something strong. We have 71 here in Sylacauga. How many of those are local kids? Not a great many, but they're still ours nevertheless. And some on there that young lady that used to work for me, Winfred Collier. Do you remember the Colliers?
I saw Winfred at the event, as a matter of fact.
Winfred Collier was at Farm Best and
Flavor
Rich and all those. And his daughter Teresa worked for me at Wright and Sprayberry many years ago for Steve and me, and her little old boy grew up there as a young shaver, RJ, and he's in this unit, lives out of Montgomery, Alabama.
I saw Winfred look like he was pushing a buggy with 3 young ones in it.
Listen, Susan, his daughter Susan, has triplets for grandchildren, and it's the first time I've ever seen this, Jimmy Dale. 2 of them are identical. I mean, that's the pair of twins. They look like bookends. Then there's one over here, and you think, well, now who does he belong to? Cute family, really was. So yeah,
There's a big crowd there that day too.
Oh, it was a big crowd, and big crowd supported them. And so, you know, what I'm hoping to do, and we'll ask the Ministerial Association and some of these other groups and people that want to, there'll be a time when they deploy that we really want churches and people in general to take families to pray specifically for John Doe, but pray for whole Delta Company 167. and be responsive maybe to his family and to know who his family is. R.J. Seaver, know who his mother and father are. Where does his granddaddy live? You know, are they around here anywhere? You know, be a little bit more knowledgeable about everyone that's in our unit. And I hope I can pull that off. I'm going to ask, you know, but I don't know why any church would be willing to take 8 or 9 and say, hey, somebody take these 8 or 9 guys.
Sylacauga Mayor Sam Wright, our guest this morning, two-term mayor who has announced he'll not be seeking re-election. Oftentimes when an announcement of this type is made, whether it be on a local or national, international level, the term lame duck is used. How would you respond to that?
Well, you know, here again, I get kidded about it. Oh, here comes the lame duck mayor or something like that. But, you know, I suppose the lame duck mayor wouldn't show up at all or wouldn't, you know, there's
kind
things.
of coast his way, or her way
and I don't
through.
mind telling you, there are things that'll come up now that you know, quite frankly, will have no bearing on me, and neither should it have. But I elect to be there every day. I still get phone calls, and I still try to take care of every little old thing that comes up about first one thing and another. I mean, the mayor, we get a lot of calls at City Hall. Half of them don't even pertain to the city. But at least we give them direction of where they go to them. We get, I tell Mike Richards a lot, we get a lot of utility board calls. And necessarily why, I don't know, except for the fact that a lot of people don't realize that we're two separate identities, and they just call City Hall thinking they're going to get the utility board, which is fine. At least we can give them a number and a name, that kind of thing. But, you know, I think our the high school, doing the renovation at the high school has been a positive thing, and certainly industry. I mean, when you drive out and see what ICO's doing,
It's huge, isn't it?
They covered that whole, you know, when they bought 50 acres out there, I thought, well, okay, they got 50 acres out there. They're gonna be right in the middle of that 50 acres. I think they've taken the whole 50 acres.
So too.
I mean, and you know, here again, the plant itself, when it's up and running, will be big. But there's been a lot of money generated in the construction of the plant. And people are living in here and moving in here and doing and this kind of thing. So that's a big part of it.
This municipal election coming up on August 28th, there are going to be new faces. There'll be a new mayor. There will be at least 2 new councilmen. The importance of this election in Sylacauga?
Probably one of the most important elections in a long time. One of the most important elections in a long time. I think the citizens of Sylacauga really need to be involved and have good turnouts. Show your interest in running. It'll heat up a little bit. It's kind of gone off a little slow. I think you know, we really won't call the election until I think tomorrow or the next day, and then the qualifying will actually begin, and it'll run till July the 15th, I believe, maybe the 17th, but whatever that Friday is, and then we'll close it, and then and people will start getting in there hot and heavy. And of course, I bet the candidates hope that the weather moderates a little for them to get out here. And you know, and I tell you, I think people expect to see their candidates. You know, this kind of thing, I have totally stayed out of it, and from a city council as well as the mayor's race and that kind of thing. I, from time to time, get asked. Are you going to endorse anybody, things like that? No, I never have believed in that anyway. What good is it to begin with? But I just think it's going to be important, real important, sure is.
Sylacauga Mayor Sam Wright, our guest this morning for a few more minutes on the show. What do you see in the next 4 years with a new mayor and several new city councilmen? What are some of the challenges they're going to face?
Well, of course, obviously, right off the bat, they're going to face financial challenges. I mean,
how's that changed in 8 years with you?
Well, it's just the economy just really, you know, the first 4 years, the previous council had done a good job. I'll give them credit too for doing what they did. But when we first got in there, we had equipment issues, terrible equipment issues. So, but we had the money to do some things then, and we did them, and we brought our equipment up to speed. You know, now that equipment now is getting down to where it needs to be changed out because it gets used a great deal. I think just doing some of those things, you got some issues with the animal shelter. That's still on the top burner. What's going to happen to East Highland? That's still out there to be resolved. And some of those things very well may be resolved before the new administration takes over.
And when is that?
That would be the first Wednesday in November.
Okay.
So we'll just see, but you know, it's always going to be about making Sylacauga a better place. Mm-hmm. It's always about, you know, here again, every election we hear sportsplex, and I think at some point in time that's got to be a driving force. This kind of thing, you know, it's amazing. We talked with the young boy that runs the Sylacauga swimming pool over the weekend to make sure we left the pool open a little longer and cut our fees a little bit. We have somewhat of an issue down there with getting too many people at the pool. It's just so big, and you can just do so much, and then you run into some safety issues. But he was talking about all the things he's done at the swimming pool to generate income and to make money for the pool. You don't realize that. Same can be done about softball, and same can be done about the other complex and everything. It's just, you know, it's finding the money and being able to find the match to do it with. You know, they're working on making some assessment of what to do with the Avondale property. What's the best approach to do with the Avondale property? There's always going to be paving issues out there. The thing about a lot of, you know, a lot of things look good on the surface. Oh, why didn't you get a grant? Why didn't you get a grant like so-and-so city? And on the surface you think, well, yeah, you idiot, why didn't you do that? But you look at it, what it takes to get it, that people don't know. You got to have matching funds. It's federal dollars, so when the federal dollars are involved, there are things that the feds are going to make you do that they ain't going to pay for. That's all yours. Consequently, you say, oh my goodness, we had an 80-20 match. Now that looks like a 70-30 or a 60-40. And you say, well, gee, we can't pull this off. And but we you know, paving Fort William Street and paving 4th Street, that's big. You know, we finally got, in this last paving project, we finally did a strip of Main Avenue, which, you know, Main Avenue still can take a lot of paving.
It could take some more strips.
It could take more strips. And so Jimmy Dale's a little bit of everything. You know, it falls in, it's just not a little, it's everything.
Hard lessons learned in 8 years.
Oh, gee, I don't know. Personnel sometimes was sometimes got to be hard things. But I tell you what, we got new chief of police, we got new fire chief, so we have really gone in there and done some things there. Getting personnel on board to do things. You know, we've had a hiring freeze, and basically when John Gladness left and now Tommy Rumsey's left, we've been, you know, that salary, we've been saving that. But, you know, here again, we need to free up some people. So the utility inspector is being tested in the next couple of weeks, so there'll be a hire there. But needs to be. Now, there's still a lot of activity going on, people remodeling, a new house going up here, new house going up there, commercial things going up, the apartments that are being built out on 21, that kind of thing. So, you know, when you look around, there's little areas of activity everywhere. And our churches have been so cooperative. People have been nice, you know, to me and Connie about having served for 4 years, and I've appreciated the kind words. As we sat there this morning having our little devotional and everything, Connie said, well, you got to work on a farewell speech. I said, well, I've thought about that. She said, well, I'll help you with it.
Sylacauga Mayor Sam Wright, our guest this morning here on Daybreak, and 8 years he has served as mayor of the city of Sylacauga, and decided recently he'll not seek re-election for the mayorship of the city of Sylacauga. As we talk just a couple of more minutes, I remember after the first 4 years, you sat with me and we talked about frustrations, and you and I, we've talked about this several times, but you said one of the frustrating thing is you can't make it work quicker, you know?
Oh, that's so true. That ain't changed a bit. Has not changed a bit. You've got to, and you know, Jimmy Dale, I think since that 4 years, the frustration level has gone down a little bit because when you step back and think about it and you look at it, you're spending taxpayers' money, you're getting state money and things like this, and it's just a lot of hoops you have to jump through. But at the end result, they want them all to be I's dotted and T's crossed. But it's just the process of moving things along, and you know, Jimmy Dale, one of the biggest problems that we face, that there's not a good answer to it, and I would hope that the next administration can get an answer to it, is what do we do with people that just let the yard grow up and it looks like rip, and it's right on a main drive, or it's right next to people. You know, there are areas around that the neighborhood kind of takes care of it. They take turns cutting the grass, and so consequently you don't know about some of them. But for us to do it, us to get on private property, and us to spend taxpayers' money to clean up your lot that you left, or that was, or whatever, or that it was foreclosed on, or something like this, you know, it's not right either. And for us to recoup our money is not easy, and it's just not a clear-cut way. You see on television and read all the time where a city of this, that, and the other is cutting lots and doing all that. I don't know how they pull it off. They can pull it off better than we can. That's been a frustration.
The Adopt a Block campaign is...
you know, that was a great concept, and that's going to work. I mean, people are doing things, picking up trash and doing some things. I think the biggest thing, too, today, Jim, is just the apathy of people wanting to get out and help and do some things.
I think apathy overall in our country.
In our country. I mean, for any group of people to say, well, okay, I'm gonna be responsible for 3 blocks, 4 blocks right here, or I'm gonna, you know, people just don't do it.
Yeah, and that's a mouthful to say. Hey, I'm going to be accountable to do this. Accountability is something that you're very, very positive about. The accountability in the city of Sylacauga.
Oh, absolutely, but you know, here again, if a few folks take care of it, it's not so hard to keep it going. But you know, we get calls of, why don't you pick up the trash on this, that, and the other? And we're just doing all we can just to keep our head above water with cutting grass and weed eating and doing the other little projects we do. And
finally, when you announced that you were not going to seek re-election for a 3rd term, it surprised a lot of people. There was a lot of conversation about, well, the reason he's not going to run for re-election is this or that. Many people talked about the health of Mayor Sam Wright.
They did, and we laughed about that. I did, and I will say I had a little something that happened that was not a big deal. But it all happened because I started trying to lose weight. And I didn't do that well. Now, I lost the weight. Actually was losing it and not trying to lose it, kind of thing. But as far as health-wise, I'm fine. You know, as fine as I can be, I suppose. So health was never an issue in my decision. I did have a little something that happened, but it was not
kind of coincidental there.
Yes, it very much was. And like I say, it was just something that my doctor told me I just did something that I shouldn't have done, and trying to lose weight. Wasn't smart, didn't know now. But you know, so people have to be careful with what they do with regard to everything, with regard to their body.
Had extreme heat the last few days.
Yeah, had extreme heat, and that is tough. I tell you, it's just like when you watch a baseball game on TV, you think, well, God, ain't them guys about to die. But the key to anything with hydration is getting a lot of fluids in early, because you can reach a point when it's not going to do any good at all. You've gone over the, you've gone over the Mendoza line, and and you can't recoup. So getting a lot of fluids in your body and not staying inside and staying in the shade. We had a good breeze this morning, and it's cloudy. I don't know whether that's going to mean anything out there today or not.
Independence Day is Wednesday, and I know your history has been service to your country and your love for America.
Absolutely. I mean, if we've got to have that. If it's kind of like if we ever reach a point in this country where we don't care about our veterans and we don't think about them and we don't do things for them and we don't respect them and we don't show respect for them and we don't do things for them, that'll be a time when this country's headed to the bottom. And so anything that we can do to show respect for our veterans and what they've given for this country over through the years is big. And 4th of July is big, and here again, there'll be a lot of cities that'll have some promotions and fireworks and things like that. Money's just been tough on doing some things, and the chamber usually does some of this kind of thing. It's just been tough on people to do things. People got to understand if you ain't got it, you ain't got it, and you can spend $3,000 or $4,000 on some things that. You can buy a lawnmower with that.
Final thought from Sylacauga Mayor Sam Wright. And again, thanks for being with us this morning, and happy 4th of July to you and your family. How would you like the legacy of Sam Wright printed as two-term Mayor of Sylacauga?
Well, Mayor Wright did a great job for the city of Sylacauga. He was well respected by his peers and the people that I served, and that he did everything for the city of Sylacauga he could. I was responsive to each department we have, and try to do it with dignity and honesty and integrity. This kind of thing, and I think it can be proud to say he was our mayor.
All right.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
always a pleasure, sir.
Thank you very much.
More on Daybreak in just a minute.